Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at a couple of Masters of the Universe Origins figures, and the ones we're looking at here today are Eternian Goddess and Beastman, and these are brand new for 2021, and I recently picked these up at my local Target store. I was very surprised to see them just because the only figures I'd ever seen at retail were basically He-Man and Skeletor, and maybe a few other random ones. But in terms of the individual carded figures, this is the first time I'd seen anything else. So I decided to go ahead and pick them up. I think they look great. This is the first female figure that I picked up in this line, and the Beastman figure is has a special sticker on the front that says LOP, and that stands for Lords of Power, which was the original concept that they did before they came up with the name Masters of the Universe. So this is a prototype style figure that was originally done as what Beastman was going to look like in the Lords of Power line. They ended up changing the name and also changing the look of the character. So the standard Beastman does not look like this at all. It's actually quite different. But that doesn't really matter to me. Just supporting this line is what's interesting to me, because this particular line of toys is very child friendly, but also collector friendly in terms of being true to the scale and the overall look of the characters from the original Masters of the Universe line, and also making them durable enough so that they can actually be played with by children. And there's also the aspect of the interchangeable parts too, which is quite cool. So anyway, in terms of the look of the packaging, it's very retro looking, very much reminiscent of the original Masters of the Universe. And then on the back of the package, you can see some of the other figures that are available in the line. I haven't seen any of these, so I don't really know if those will show up at retail or not. But anyway, you can see some of the other stuff available. And these cards often have these very nice illustrations on them too, so you get a little bit of a retro feel to it in terms of the artwork. And same on this one, you can see He-Man versus Beastman. So very cool artwork. But let's get these out of the package so we can take a look at some of the details, and we'll go over the articulation on them as well. So stay tuned. Okay, so here we have these two figures out of the package, and each of these comes with a mini comic. This comic is the same in both these figures. It's called Rock in a Hard Place, and it's just a short little comic. Has quite a few interesting panels in it, but there's not much to it. It just sort of, tells you a little bit of a background story, and on the back of this, it shows you pictures of the various characters in the line. So cool little feature, and it is the same comic book in both these figures. Here we see the Eternian Goddess. She comes with two accessories. I guess it'd be three if you count this headpiece. These are all removable. Actually, you can pull this down and you can see what the figure looks like underneath. So that's very cool. And you could completely remove it too. I'm not going to do that just because this little attachment point I noticed on these figures is a little finicky, and getting it back into position can be a little tough. So, but you can see what she looks like underneath there. And she comes with this sort of snake staff and also a shield, and she can hold both of those accessories just fine. And we'll talk about the articulation a little bit on this figure too. She gets similar articulation to the male figures in the line. You can see at the head, it's on a ball joint, so she gets a little bit of front and back, a little bit of side to side, and obviously a swivel. So, and the head is removable. A lot of these parts are actually removable on these figures. So yeah, you can pop the head off and you can see the ball joint underneath. So in theory, if you had other female figures from this line, you could probably pop their head onto this figure. So the interchangeable parts thing is a big deal with this line. It basically gives you the ability to do a lot of customization, and the arm is also removable. See, that pops right out. So again, you could customize these figures, and with each of these figures, they give you a little diagram showing you which parts are actually removable. So that's quite nice as well. And in terms of articulation, she can extend out, she can extend all the way 360. at the shoulder, at the elbow, she's got a bend and also a pivot there. At the wrist, she can bend back and forth like this, and also a pivot. At the waist, it's just a single joint. And again, you can pop it apart if you want to. She can kick out, she can kick forward, kick back. Plenty of articulation at the hip. At the knee, she can bend. There's also a swivel there. At the boot part, this is actually, there's a pivot point here, and this part is also removable. At the ankle, she can bend back and forth like this. And there's also a little bit of side to side and a pivot. So quite a bit of articulation at the ankle. So yeah, the articulation on the female figures is pretty similar to the way it is on the male figures. So here on Beastman, we'll go over the articulation on this figure as well. This figure just comes with one large accessory, which is this shoulder piece. And I actually recommend assembling the straps for this thing when it's off the figure. And then in order to put it on the figure, all you have to do is remove both arms, and then it allows you to put that shoulder piece on much more easily. And then once it's in place, then you can put the arms back on the figure, because that seemed to be the best way to do it as far as I can tell, and it worked out very easily for me. So in terms of articulation, you can see he gets a lot of movement at the head. Basically, he gets front and back and side to side and a swivel. So quite a bit of articulation at the head. And at the shoulder, he can extend out. Can't do a 360 with the shoulder piece in place, but he can extend back and forth like this. He also gets articulation at the elbow, bending back and forth, and also a pivot. So very nice articulation there. At the wrist, he can extend this way, but not backward very far, just because that gauntlet piece gets in the way. And then he gets a pivot there as well. So good articulation at the wrist. At the waist, he gets a pivot joint there. And again, that pops apart. You can see, again, they give you a little chart showing which parts are interchangeable. So that's very cool. And then at the hip, he can kick out, kick forward, kick back. He gets a knee bend, a knee swivel as well. And then at the boot cut, basically there's a pivot joint there. And then at the ankle, extending back and forth, and then some side to side and swivel. So yeah, quite a bit of articulation. It's very consistent between all the male figures. And as I mentioned, you can swap the parts around on these. So you can completely Frankenstein, parts from Skeletor and He-Man, and you can swap them onto this Beastman figure. And just to show you an example of this, you can see I took the main body of Skeletor and put the head, arms, and lower legs of Beastman onto that, and vice versa. You can take the parts from Skeletor and put them on Beastman. So lots of interchangeable parts, and that's really nice because it gives you the ability to really customize these action figures and really expand the universe of what you're doing with these. If you buy multiples, you could create your own custom action figure line just by interchanging the various parts. Overall, I think Mattel did just an outstanding job in terms of executing this toy line. They're very consistent across the board in terms of, the articulation, the durability, the interchangeable parts, everything about this line. It's just very well done. So if you are interested in a toy line, Masters of the Universe, one to collect, I recommend this one. I just think in terms of the overall execution of it, it's outstanding. That's pretty much all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more coverage of Masters of the Universe stuff in the future, stay tuned to the channel because I will be covering more of this kind of stuff in future videos. Until next time, I hope you're having a great day, and thanks for watching.